And I like what Fela said. So Fela said, is it democracy or demonstration of Chris?
Yeah.
Because it do me like saying a demonstration of Chris much more than
Chris.
it is democracy. Because some of the crazy things that happen in governance and democracy in Nigeria is just unbelievable. When you think you've had it all or you've seen the worst of it, then you see another statistic and then you can't even weep. In spite of the induction, I don't even think that short induction course they give them at the beginning of the session or of their tenures is enough to properly ground them as lawmakers. That is why you see a lot of conflicting laws even coming out of their offices and their reports. Recently, we saw something unbelievable, that there's an agency that has been existing. There's a budget for it. So much money has been released for that agency and everything, but it doesn't exist.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Deep Dive. I am your host for today, Blessing Subiru. And today we'll be having a conversation with someone who had seen and experienced politics both from the outside and the inside. He is going to share of his experience as he answers some of the questions we have in our hearts. He's popularly known as Uncle Jeff. He was a former media aide to Dr. Ibrahim Dankwambo when he was the governor of Gombe State, Mr. Aluke Ayuba, right?
Yes, Aluke Ayuba.
Yes, okay, who is Mr. Aluke Ayuba? Before we go deep into the conversation.
Well, a simple everyday Nigerian, if you like. I don't see myself any more than that. Just like every other person that wakes up with one head, two eyes, 2 ears, one mouth. Yeah. So basically, I think it's just a simple, basic Nigerian that wants to live peacefully and grow and enjoy the goodness of life while it still lasts. I don't see myself any more than that.
Enjoying the goodness of life is actually important. So, when you introduce yourself as a politician to people, what's that misconception, or what do people usually say that you think it's you having the opportunity to correct? You
Well, I think what does this is a Chinese proverb that says it is by smithing that you become a goldsmith or a blacksmith. It's by fishing that you become a fisherman. So who is a politician and who is not is something that is very open and vague. You cannot, anybody can claim to be a politician anyway. You don't have to go to any school to acquire any certificate or any degree or any level of competency for you to describe yourself as a politician. Even if you are just standing by the roadside and they ask you, yeah, I'm a politician. Nobody can deny that. But of course, there are people that we know are deeply into the practice, in the sense that either they have contested or they have supported other people in the course of the contest, or they have participated in all the democratic processes that leads to the emergence of leadership through the political system and everything. So maybe those are more appropriately described as politicians. And if you are calling me a politician along that line, I may accept, but not all the time. I more or less still see myself as a professional communicator, as a journalist. In fact, that one I'm very proud of it. Any day, anytime. If you ask me first, I'll tell you, I'm a journalist. That is the most important one because I value it so much. I know what journalism is. I know what it adds to life, the value it brings if it is done properly. So yes, a politician, yes, because I'm working with them. I have worked with them, and I'm participating in politics. So I think that is not a very bad label. But I would prefer if you say a good politician.
Okay, now that brings me to that title, a good politician. Most Nigerians, there's this perception that when you hear somebody is a politician, there's always that narrative that comes with it. So I'm particularly interested why would you want to be referred to as a good politician and not just a politician?
Because I also hear people say things like politics is dirty. And I disagree.
Okay.
No, politics is not dirty. Maybe some of the players play dirty. So that is what people see and they say politics is dirty. And my quarrel with that is that it has made so many people that have competencies, people that have a lot of value to offer to the system, to shy away from participating in politics because it has been said that politics is dirty. And there are people that will have some level of moral rectitude. They don't want to be described as dirty people. I don't want to be described as a dirty person. So if you say politics is dirty and everything, you can understand why the intellectuals, the academics, those that are morally upright, people that are concerned about their reputation and their dignity and their integrity will naturally want to shy away from politics because it has been labeled as something that is dirty and is corrupt. And they know they are not dirty and they are not corrupt. And so they stay away from the system, and the system is deprived of some quality and valuable contribution of some good people that would have brought the changes that we want. So I think basically that is where the challenge is. It is the misunderstanding or the misapplication of politics and the dirty politics that is being played by some of the politicians that has created that mindset, or that has brought about this conversation or this labeling of saying that politics is dirty. No, politics is not dirty. But if you have dirty politicians, they play dirty.
So it just confirms that saying that hates the game and not the player.
Not the player.
Sort of.
Of course.
Okay.
Yes.
So
and that is why I would prefer if you say a good politician, so that you don't put me into that general basket. Yes.
Okay.
Of corrupt or dirty politicians, because I'm not.
Okay. So as you've likely said that you worked as a journalist with the past administration, let's talk about Nigerian politics and the involvement of media. How well, being someone who is involved in both aspects as a media personnel, a journalist, and someone who had also closely worked with a government administration before, what would you say is the connecting factor between politics and media in Nigeria, especially the social media as we have in today's Nigeria?
Yeah. Well, the social media thing is still relatively a new thing. It is an uncharted environment that is just coming up, at least within our environs now. Maybe in other places it is well developed, and we cannot say same about Nigeria, because if you open these social media channels and everything, what you see in other countries and what you see in Nigeria is very different. And everything, if you look at the content that is there. And the social media has brought a lot of positives to journalism, to information dissemination, you understand, to mobilizing people towards certain goals and everything. But it has also brought a lot of new challenges and a lot of evil and a lot of things and unwanted things, undesired things also into the system that we are still battling to handle. And it is not easy being a journalist in Nigeria, I must tell you that.
Okay.
It is not. Because at many fronts, you are battling with a lot of things. You have issues of ethics that is running through your mind if you are a properly trained journalist. Anyway, you know, these days, everybody wakes up that can afford an Android phone.
Yeah, you feel
and
like a journalist.
Yes, and he tells you that he's a journalist or he's a reporter. Or anybody that can afford to buy a camera in those days and everything and just write it and just get the tag, press. and he goes out and he thinks he can interview, he can do anything, and you know, he's still labeled as a journalist. There is no way to segregate who is a properly trained one and who is not. Not like in other climes. In Nigeria, we are not licensed to practice. Everybody is there, so it's like an all-comers job. Everybody comes and he said he's a journalist, and any mess he commits and everything, it drops on all of us, including me and you. So I think that is what is there. It is not easy to practice as professional journalists in our current environment and the situation we find ourselves. Journalists are, in fact, I think this is the highest. We have the worst record now of journalists being killed worldwide and even in Nigeria in the course of doing their jobs or disseminating information, simply because they're doing what is right. They have been killed, they have been threatened, some have been maimed, some have even lost their jobs, because it has been so intertwined with politics. And most of the time, what causes the friction is because I keep telling people that if a government is doing what is right, and if a government is performing, it has no business trying to control the media.
Okay.
Yes. If you see any government or anybody that is trying to control the media, or is trying to mute the media, or is trying to strangulate the media, it's because the person has something to hide. There's something he doesn't want the public or the people to know, and it is usually, you know, it is what the media is interested in. That thing, that same thing you don't want to be brought to the public is what the media wants to expose. So naturally, you know, there's a point of conflict between this kind of people or this kind of leadership style with the practice of journalism or information dissemination. So a lot of challenges. And again, yes, I worked with the former governor, not only him, I worked at several levels with politicians and as a media aide. But I've also seen that, if in fact, my experience now is making me rethink the whole thing. I'm beginning to advocate for a new line of thought that perhaps properly trained journalists, those that have training as journalists, as reporters, that there should be a law banning them from participating or from working as publicity relations officer or media assistants to politicians or to any government officials.
Why is that?
Because most times you discover that some of the demands of the office that comes on you is completely antagonistic to what you have been trained as part of your ethics.
So it's more like a clash of what you demanded, your values as a journalist, and what
and your job really as a public relations officer. Okay. There's always that conflict. What do I do in this situation? You understand? My business is to project a positive image of my principal, whoever he is, not minding whether he has done well or not. That is my business, either as a special advisor on media or in press or whatever position you want to call it, chief press secretary, whatever it is you call it, or even if you call me director of press, just basically disseminating information. It is the positives that I am supposed to project to the public everything. But then my training as a journalist, is lingering somewhere behind my mind, is telling me that this is not the whole truth.
Right.
This is not the only perspective. Why didn't you say so? And what is even more amazing is that the politicians tend to like spin doctors much more than journalists. Yes, because if they bring in somebody that is not trained and is not a journalist, he's just a spin doctor, he can say anything in whichever way he wants and get away with it. I don't want to mention names here. I don't think it is proper for me to call names as to cite them as examples, but we are seeing it all over the national media. You saw somebody that today is criticizing the government, calling somebody a thief, calling somebody a drug baron and everything. Then tomorrow he's actively telling you that he's the best man for the job. No properly trained journalist will do that.
Okay.
Yes, because deep within himself there will be that conflict of values. So I think probably we should separate the two jobs. You understand? Those who really want to be public relations officer or managing people's or launder other people's image should not also be seen to be practicing journalism, because you lose your neutrality,
Okay, so they're more like there should be no sitting in between the friends. It's either you are a journalist who is focused on reporting exactly what it is, or you are focused on PR to manage
people's image. And the danger there is, if now you know me as a journalist, naturally your expectation is that I am going to give you a balance and a neutral position and a report. Unfortunately now, for you, the listener, I am working as a public relations officer or as a promoter of a certain cause. So I already have my bias towards that project that I'm doing, or my goals or my target. So I cannot guarantee you neutrality in what I'm saying or giving you. I can give you I may not necessarily lie, but I may give you half-baked truths or
half truths.
You see, there's another danger there. Or I may give you a perspective that suits my needs, but that may not be the only perspective that is there.
Okay.
Yeah, because these facts and information are subject to interpretations.
Yeah. Okay, let's because now you're looking at the direction the conversation is going. You look at Nigerian democracy, right? Are we truly practicing democracy as it's supposed to be? Because from some of the things you've already highlighted it's like, there's that saying that power changes people, right? And will you say that the fact that people get into politics, they get into that position of leadership, and they now come into a space of influence and they have access to power, is it what really changes them, or it just shows who they truly are from the very start?
No, I really don't believe that power changes people significantly. Yes, it will definitely have some effect on you as a person, because your perspectives will change, the benchmarks for your judgment, and you'll see a bigger picture than what you used to know. And people will tell you, even if you don't care, even if you're a humble person and you want to keep it simple, everything, people will keep reminding you, you're this powerful, you can do this, you can undo this and everything. But I think largely what it does, it projects that inner you, the one that you've hidden before.
it amplifies
yes,
the
it amplifies it. It peels off the mask, because now you have nothing to fear. You don't worry that people are not going to like me or people are not going to support me. I'm already in power. I can do and undo. It doesn't matter whether you like me or not. I can still get along. So I can treat you with so much disdain and everything. It doesn't matter. It only projects my inner person, and that is what it does, and that is what we see. So when people get power, if they're good people, if they're humble people, if they're people that have value, they'll add more value. You'll see humility and everything. But if they have been hiding, if that was just the public face they have been projecting so that they will find validation and acceptability in the society and the community, and then suddenly they have power, then it amplifies it and you see they projected who they truly are, not what or the marks that they used to wear or the public figure or faces that they present to us. So I think that is the level it goes. And democracy in Nigeria, I don't know. It defies every theory that we know of governance, of politics, and everything what is happening in Nigeria. Sometimes I wonder, even this morning before I came for this interview, where I was taking my bath, I'm a crazy person. I allow my mind to wander.
Yeah.
I don't restrict it. I was thinking this morning, I said, yes, all people on earth, Chinese, Asian, Latino, Ethiopians, Americans, we are all people. Yes, we are all people. I agree. We are all human. That we have in common. But I keep saying that. Are you sure Nigerians are just like every other person? Probably there's something about us. Yes. Maybe there's a genetic mutation, whatever you want to call it, that takes place among the Nigerian population, people within this geography, or some I don't know, some alien blood plasma that has been injected into us in the course of making human beings. So we are a little bit different from any other part of the world or any people, because you see all these theories and everything working in other places. Bring them to Nigeria and they fail woefully. And if you go and check, you will see that all the benchmarks, all the parameters have been observed and everything is being followed, but yet you don't get the same result.
Why is that though?
So they may be universal other places. If they come to Nigeria, if you don't localize them and you make them unique, they simply don't work.
But why is that like that?
I keep asking the question too, and I don't have any answers. And that was why I told you my mind was wandering this morning. I was thinking, are we really just ordinary people like that? Probably Nigerians were exceptional. Yeah, we are. Maybe there's something different about us. And I think there is. So I'm looking at it as we are yet to develop a democracy, that suits our environment, that suits the kind of people we are. I think democracy is good. I'm not against it. It is one of the best systems so far that we have of governance, and although that is arguable anyway, in terms of Nigeria. But I also think that the general theories and concepts of democracy as it's been seen globally may not necessarily be applicable to our own situation here in the country. There is something unique about us. We must find a way of looking without deviating from the general principles of the democracy. You understand? Can we now do something a little extra, a little special to adapt it to our own situations here, with our culture, with our traditions, with our mindset, our idiosyncrasies? Can we come up with something that
can be different?
Yes, that can be different. And I think that is the perspective we should start looking at, since as it is being done in other places does not play along well here.
Yes. Talking about
so sorry, and I like what Fela said. So Fela said, is it democracy or demonstration of grace? Because it do me like saying a demonstration of grace much more than it is democracy. Because some of the crazy things that happen in governance and democracy in Nigeria is just unbelievable. When you think you've had it all or you have seen the worst of it, then you see another statistic and then you can't even weep.
Yeah, sure. I think in just talking about it, I'm just trying to think back, and one of the things that really stood out or just came to mind is the situations where you've seen Nigeria is almost synonymous to corruption, almost anywhere, which ought not to be so, because I believe we have very good citizens who are doing exceptionally well in their chosen field. But I've seen situations where animals are stealing money, animals are swallowing money, and you just know the hype, and we talk, it trends, and before you know, it just dies. So talking about one of the things that seemingly look like Nigerian democracy, it's a bit different. Talk about vote buying. Now we are in the elections season, right? Most political parties are seriously campaigning now towards the next election. What would you say? Vote buying, who will you really blame? Let's even start from it. Is it the person who is offering the money? Because we can't deny that he exists. People buy votes. We've seen it happen time and time again. So would you say it's the people, the politicians who are offering the money, or is the masses who are actually accepting that have the bigger blame?
Well, this vote buying of a thing, I don't even think we have properly identified what it is, what entails vote buying. We're just looking at maybe just an aspect of it most of the time we talk. And as far as I'm concerned, I don't think we have brought up any solution. There's nothing that has been done so far that will stop vote buying. I bet you on this. Come 2027, there's going to be vote buying. In fact, I'm suspecting that there's going to be mega vote buying.
Wow.
Yes. So what the politicians and those that are involved in the business keep doing is that they keep refining their skills. You know, they keep refining their skills and then they update it as you're updating. You know, it's like hackers. Yes. As you're updating your security, your firewalls and everything, the hackers too are getting better by the day. They're finding way to circumvent, to beat the system, to and still get to do what they want to do. But in this situation, to my mind, a lot of the fault is not with the executive, particularly not either with the presidency or with the governors or the politicians themselves. I think a large part of that blame should be dropped at the table or at the decks of the legislators, the members of the state assembly, the members of the parliament, and also members of the Senate. They make the laws.
Yeah.
Yes, they make the laws. They know these things happen. And I have never been part of the lawmaking process or system, but I think what they do is, in the course of making the law or proposing the laws and everything, they deliberately create loopholes. You know, and they keep it quiet and hidden, knowing fully well that the time will come that they will exploit it to achieve what they want to achieve. And that also tells you that their mindset is not that of performance right from the onset. They didn't come to perform. Most people that contest for the House of Parliament, for the Reps or Senate, are not going there because they want to go and contribute to add value to lawmaking. No. They see it as another opportunity, a stepping stone to access national wealth and recognition. So they're not necessarily there to make laws. In spite of the induction, I don't even think that short induction course they give them at the beginning of the session or of their tenures is enough to properly ground them as lawmakers. That is why you see a lot of conflicting laws even coming out of their offices and their reports. Recently, we saw something unbelievable, that there's an agency that has been existing. There's a budget for it. So much money has been released for that agency and everything, but it doesn't exist. And it is there, and money has been appropriated for it. We have seen situations whereby names of people have been presented for appointments and everything, and it is said that somebody even died 10 years ago.
Oh.
So if you look at it, you see that the problem is way beyond what is the apparent, or what appears to be what it is for now. So the issue of vote buying, everybody does it. They do it. They all do it. And I don't think I will isolate any party and tell you that this party is not doing it. It's a matter of who outsmarts who. Yes, either in vote buying, in rigging, or in other things.
So is it safe to say that even before we get to the polls, the results is already being determined by a whole lot of other things beyond people really going to cast votes?
I don't want to say things that will discourage people from going to cast their votes, because I believe that whatever has been planned to manipulate the system or to rig elections, if the people would take up their civic responsibility and stand for what is correct and what is good and is right, we can still get there. If people go to cast their votes and then people insist that their votes must be counted properly and the results must be recorded properly, and the result must be announced. If people can make that sacrifice, no matter how the politicians want to rig the election or they want to buy the votes and everything, it may not work at the end of the day. But as it is now, our laws as they are so porous, there's so much loopholes in them that you cannot guarantee that the system is going to be foolproof, that there will be no vote buying. As a matter of fact, you'll be surprised. You hear the politicians boasting, saying it publicly, I don't wait, I've saved enough money, I have my arsenal, I have my weapons, I have cash. When the election comes, I'll just spread it around across and everything. I become popular. Everybody thinks I'm the good guy. And then I win the election. That is why I tell you that vote buying happens at different stages and in different levels. In the course of the election as it is now, or participating in the electoral process and everything, politicians are forced to give out money during rallies, during campaigns, during public civic receptions, during weddings. Politicians are invited, during burials, during naming ceremonies, church buildings, mosque buildings, name it. They're invited and they go there and they make donations and they give money. And I and you know that what they are donating is way beyond what they are earning.
So where's the money actually?
Where's the money coming from? And why are they giving the money? Because at the end of the day, is that same money that they gave you in the past that is going to influence your decision on whether to vote them or elect them or not. Have you not seen where a senator or a member of reps is campaigning on the grounds and he's telling the people that if I come, I will do this and this and this and this project for you? Is it the mandate of lawmakers, of legislators to execute projects? It's not within their mandate. It's not. Project execution and implementation is with the executive.
The executive, not legislative.
Basically, the role of the legislators is to make laws to govern the society, good laws to govern the society. But if you don't go to your community and you don't do welfare, and you don't do projects, you don't give employment, you don't give anything, even if you're the best comrade, even if you're the person with the highest record or degree of integrity and whatever and everything, I'm assuring you, you will lose the election. So yes, the people are to blame, the system is to blame, and also the politicians are to blame. It's just a vicious cycle. I don't know which is, like you said, is it the hen before the egg, or is it the egg before the hen? So we have a vicious cycle and we're going round and round and round. But I think if our legislators want to break that, they can.
Okay.
But the problem is that the way the elections, the system that projects who become a member of reps or senate is so skewed and so manipulated in such a way that it projects most times the wrong people. There are some excellent people there, good people there. There's no doubt about that. But a majority of them are just there. And I don't know what happens. There are people that are people of quality, of integrity and everything. But once they get there, it's like they have been redesigned, like they're put into a mold, that they will change. They will change their anatomy, and in fact, they will change their DNA in such a way that they will also be programmed to sustain that same wicked and ugly system that has brought them into power. What do you expect?
So now it's a situation of safe to say you can't fight the system that's sort of brought
you up. Yes, you can't fight it.
Okay.
Yes, it is a demon that they created you and everything. If you want to fight it, you'll be destroying yourself, wouldn't you?
Okay. So from what you've said, is it okay for someone who is thinking of going into politics and all of that? Safe to say you can't practice politics in Nigeria without money.
Well, you can practice politics without money, but how far would you go? Will you succeed? That's the question. Of course, you can practice politics without money. I think somebody sometime told me that I had them discussing in one of the local palaces. Yeah, why won't he lose? This Peter Obi, he said, Kochichi, that he will not give Sisi. So if he will not give Sisi, we'll see how he's going to win the election. And that is our reality. But it shouldn't be so.
Yeah.
And anyway, Nigeria is not any different. Some time back, I was curious. I decided to look at I said this thing that we're always talking about, money playing a part in politics in Nigeria, money playing a part in politics. Is it any different in other climes, in other places? I don't know. I didn't do an in-depth research, but what I've seen from cursory look of what is on the ground, I see that money plays a major part in the success of any politician and politics anywhere. Recent commentaries, recent commentaries that you see in America, Donald Trump, people said he won the election because he's rich, he's a billionaire. because he had money. People say it openly. The facts are there. So it goes to say that money works on everybody. And I think whoever understands the money understands the power of motivation. Nothing motivates human beings into doing things like money.
Yeah.
You understand? No matter your principles and wherever you stand, money is still a motivation for you to do what is right. And I also looked at the budget spending for the US election, for past elections and other elections, and in other countries and other places. I saw that a huge amount of money also have been spent. But mostly, what even triggered my curiosity more is that a lot of those their monies were spent on media and publicity.
Wow.
Yes.
Back to the
quite
power
very
of
contrary
media.
to what is happening in Nigeria. To me, on media and publicity.
Okay.
Mobilization. So yes, money plays part in politics, in any politics. So it will be an illusion or self-deception to say that you could practice politics and okay, let's assume you're not even buying votes, you're not buying people's conscience and everything. But you know what happens in politics? If you're going to campaign like in a local community and everything, you need to mobilize supporters to go there. These are people that are ordinary, everyday people that don't have money. So you have to hire buses. You understand? And they're wage earners, they're daily wage earners and everything. For the fact that they're leaving their businesses or their laborer work to go and support you and everything means for that day, they're not going to have anything to feed their family with and everything. So it's only common sense and considerate for you to give them something at the end of the day to tell them, okay, take this. Since I've occupied your whole day, you couldn't go and work and get the 3,000 usually get, take 5,000. Tell me, is that not money?
Sis.
Would they go voluntarily if at the end of the day they stand to gain nothing or benefit anything at the end of the day, simply because they believe it is what will give them a better life in the future? I don't think so. Okay. So yes, money.
Before we go, there's one more question that I actually would want you to talk about. You've talked about we've seen some of our senators, their work majorly as legislators is to make law. And recently, one of the laws that were passed is this state policing. So let's look at it. What is the state policing?
Don't bother yourself. That law is a failed law. It won't go anywhere.
Okay.
It can't.
Because I was just thinking about the checks and balance.
It can't be implemented.
Okay.
There is a constitutional provision that is there that will not allow that law to see the light of the day.
Okay.
Yes. So they will have to go and look at the framework all over again and see how they will balance it. Yeah. I don't think it will work.
Right. Okay. Well, Nigeria as a country, right? Looking at democracy.
Not that state policing is bad. I am not saying state policing is bad. Or state policing, it has its merit and its demerit. Okay. I know. And anyway, there is nothing that is perfect that will give you the result. Most times you start it along the line, you fine-tune it and you improve on it, because I believe even the US and the British system that we quote all the time was not as this fine and this good at the initial. It is something that they have been improving on it, working on it over time until they got to the point that we're seeing the brilliance now. You know, when they picked it, it was just rusty, dusty gold, but they have polished it, and now we're seeing the brilliance. And I think that is what we need to happen. I think we should take our time with this state policing thing and work on it gently. And I think a larger responsibility for that rests with the members of the National Assembly. What is happening? I don't know. I don't want to label them all like that. But I think what is happening is that the legislators forget that they are not experts in law. So I had expected a situation whereby, if this issue comes up, either by way of lobbying or hiring, they will have approached lawmakers, people that know the law, that know the Constitution, and people that have worked within the police institution, people that have the knowledge, you understand, to advise them properly. Okay, this is what we want to do, and this is what we are thinking about it. Okay, help us put this into proper shape. Look at it from the legal perspective. What do we really need to do to get this? This is our concern. This is our target. Then the experts in the field, the legal luminaries and everything, will give you the proper advice and the guidance, and then you come up with a document that is workable, that is implementable, a document that is good, that covers at least the obvious or the apparent ones that we can see. Because of course there is no law, that is perfect, that will fit every situation, because some of the situations cannot be anticipated until they happen.
Sure. Yeah. Sure. So before we go, we know that in Gombe here, we have most of the political parties now have their primary candidate for the governorship and all of that. So looking at the next election, if you're to advise the next administration, considering what this current administration have done so far, so if you had to advise the next administration, what would you tell them to focus on? The top 3 priorities.
Well, that is a tough one, because they're intertwined. There's the problems you cannot isolate. You cannot remove one from the other. If I say education should be a top priority and everything, then the issues of finance will come in. You can't have good education. You can't guarantee quality of education if there is no financing. Would there be? There can't be. If I say agriculture, other issues will still come in. You understand? It can't be just purely agriculture. In agriculture, what, how, and who? So, but I think some of the things they should look at is this problem of water shortage in Gombe. I think that is one issue we need to critically look at it. We should stop treating the symptoms and go to the very base of the issues and tackle the yes, where it is. And I think there are people that already know what is the root cause of the water shortage in Gombe. That water treatment plant needs to be upgraded. It is designed to produce for a certain number of population. Gombe's population has grown like 10 times over what was projected. And the system has not been expanded or increased. So even if you do the entire reticulation work across the whole state, where is the water to pump? The water is not there. That is one. 2, I think the government should also focus on entrepreneurship, the next government that is going to come. We need to empower our people, the middle class, the youth, to give them something to do to earn a living. If they're comfortable and they're earning a living, there are opportunities for them. The youths, their minds are sharp, their minds are creative, their minds are brilliant. They will add more value to the economy. They will bring up a lot of things that will make life easier for us. And I think we should also look at the rural poor, or those that are the oppressed or the deprived in the society. We should find a way of incorporating them into the economic system as it is, because there is a lot of economic. Does it not surprise you that in spite of all the challenges and the difficulties that we're having now, if you look at the statistics, the banks, the companies and everything are just turning out profits, stupendous profits at the end of the day? Where is the money coming from?
It's actually,
and we're daily complaining that we're poor, we're suffering, we're this, we're that. So there is a part of the economy, I think, that is outside the superstructure that we know that exists, that is visible, that has been left there, and it has been what has been sustaining Nigeria and most of our people. I think government needs to look into that. Let's look at the low-hanging fruits, things that we can quickly do and sharply within a short period of time, quick interventions that will bring some succor and some relief to the ordinary people, to the masses on the ground.
Bring the governance down
to people. Let's not just look at statistics. Let's not just be concerned about too much grammar, about a 7-15-point agenda and everything. At the end of the day, if the agenda does not result into more money in my pocket or more value in my pocket, if it does not affect my expendable daily expenditure, household budget and everything, it's a useless project, no matter how beautiful it is. So let them look at the low-hanging fruits, things that they will do that will give people an additional sources of income, that will improve the household expendable budgets for people, for the youth, that will rebuild a new middle class within the society and the system, things that will bring more industrialization to Gombe than what we have now, because I assure you, government cannot take everybody on board, no matter how hard you try. It won't work. Yes.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your thoughts and experience with us. And you heard it all. Conversations like these are necessary as we grow as a country, as an individual. And we all know that we have a part to play in making our country better. As we prepare for the next year's election, we all have a part to play. And you can insist and ensure that your votes actually count, because at the end of the day, the power still lies with the people. Thank you so much. We would want to hear you. Engage with us in the comment section. Kindly like, share, and subscribe to our channel till I come your way again. And blessings to you. Thank you.